Hello and welcome to the Game Theory Podcast. I'm your host, Sam Vicini. We are presented by The Athletic. Today on the show, Robby Kalland is in the building. Robby is here. We're going to break down all of what happened in Game 3 of the Western Conference Finals. The Denver Nuggets take a commanding 3-0 lead against the Los Angeles Lakers with a 119-108 victory in Los Angeles in the Crypt. Shout out the Crypt, Robby.
No, I won't.
It's a crypt for the Lakers right now.
It is.
I think
it
is
is
the best way to put it.
Funeral soon.
Then we're gonna talk a little bit about Jimmy Butler just going supernova against Grant Williams and the Boston Celtics. Grant Williams poked the bear. That was a mistake. Finally, the whole reason Robby is here, let's just be real about it. The whole reason Robby is here is that every time there's a Fast and Furious movie that comes out, Robby and I get together and we talk about everything Fast and Furious. We did this after Fast 9. I think we did it after Fast 8 as well.
I believe so.
Maybe even after Fast 7. I can't remember at this point. Certainly for the last 3, though. Certainly for the last 3, though, because we were just so excited to do this. And if anybody has seen Fast X...
Excited for a different reason this time. The last few times it's like excited to talk about a movie we were excited about, and this one's excited to do like a therapy session about having watched this movie.
I think that's right. Like, I think that the last 30 minutes of this podcast are literally just going to be a therapy session about Fast X and trying to understand what happened here. And I think that there's just a lot to dive into. So we're going to do that, but let's start with basketball. So the Lakers are down 3-0. The Nuggets are up 3-0. Let's just start here. What is your overarching takeaway for this series?
The takeaway has been that, one, the Nuggets are a better team than the Lakers, and their margin for error is just so much bigger. Like, I think that's the thing we've seen. Like, Denver didn't play well offensively for 3 quarters. They got a nuclear Jamal Murray in the first half. KCP hit timely shots, but that's the difference. They have a guy who's going to hit those timely shots in KCP. Austin Reeves has done it for the Lakers, but Austin Reeves has been at times the second best offensive player for the Lakers in this series, which is not something that they can survive on. Denver they have more guys, more depth that can kind of pick up the slack when Jokic has a terrible first 3 quarters than the Lakers can when LeBron clearly doesn't look right. I don't know. I'm sure at some point we'll find out what's going on with the foot or whatever, but like, he had 3 shots in the restricted area tonight. When was the last time LeBron James in a must-win game took 3 shots in the restricted area and took 11 jumpers outside 20 feet? Like, on the night where they're calling everything early in this game, they were like, something's off there. He would get Jokic on an island, wouldn't attack him. Like, if LeBron looks like this, then there's just, the margin is so thin, they have to knock down shots, and they haven't been able to do that. And the Nuggets get timely buckets again in the fourth quarter from one of their stars, this time Jokic taking over after Murray did it in game 2.
Well, I think you're dead on in terms of the margin for error for the Denver Nuggets is just so much higher in this series. And that's actually what we're going to talk about when we break down tape here. Mm-hmm. It's literally just going to be how the Nuggets are demolishing every single small defensive error that the Los Angeles Lakers make in this series. The second thing I think is really critical, though, I don't know if LeBron is hurt. I don't know if we're finally seeing like LeBron.
He's old.
Finally hit his age. Mm-hmm. But the lack of rim pressure from LeBron is very real in this series. And it has a trickle-down effect in terms of the quality of shots that they get as well for the ancillary players, right? Like, if LeBron is not driving and kicking and creating those opportunities for players because he's not putting rim pressure on the court, I do think that they get worse 3-point opportunities. And when they get worse 3-point opportunities, they shoot a worse percentage from 3. It's a real factor. They got a great Anthony Davis game tonight, 28 and 18. He was terrific offensively, drew fouls at a pretty solid clip. Obviously had the great Austin Reeves game. I think Reeves has just been tremendous in this series. Austin Reeves is going to make so much goddamn money.
All playoffs he's been good. He's been steady. I mean, what is this? Like, his 7th or 8th 20-point game or something like that? I mean, he's had like a bunch of big nights.
Yeah, Austin Reeves, his clearly been the third best player on a conference champion or like a conference finalist team, those guys get paid. We will see if it's by the Lakers. If I'm the Lakers, I don't know if there is a contract that I don't match, given that the number can only get up to like 499 or 4102 or whatever it is. So like, I think you just kind of got to go with it. In the case of the Nuggets on offense, though, I think you're right that they haven't played a complete game yet, really, on offense, it feels like.
I think game one, the first 3 quarters was their best play, right? Like, or the first 2.5. Like, they've had like a couple games where they were like, because they scored 72 in the first half of that game. Like, the first half of game one was like, okay, this is them at their peak. But really, the Lakers have done a good job frustrating them in the half court. Like, the thing, like,
that's right.
The Lakers, like tonight, all the Nuggets had was Jamal Murray God mode, where he's just like seeing, nothing in front of him and everything goes in that he shoots. And then they have the semi-transition where the Lakers are just doing a horrible job getting back, picking up assignments. I think something that they're running into is in their half court, they're doing so much cross matching, where like Rui is on Jokic. And so AD's that when they're getting back in transition, they're in between trying to find the guys that they're matched up on in the half court. And so you have AD sometimes wandering into no man's land off of Jokic, or you end up with 2 guys on one. And so they're just, there's nothing crisp about what they're doing. And it's not off of steals. It's off just straight up misses. And it's really like, it's got to be frustrating to watch if you're a Lakers fan, because they have to be giving up like 15 to 20 points a game off of just missed shots. And when you're already struggling when you're already facing an offense this good, to be doing the work they're doing as a half court defense and not be able to make that count for anything, just at some point it has to be demoralizing. I think we reached that point in the fourth quarter tonight.
Yeah, it's really interesting. So I went back and tried to see just how much the Nuggets are absolutely demolishing the Lakers in transition, just in terms of like points per possession, right? In game one, it was like 1.21 points per possession, which is fine, per synergy. All of these numbers will be per synergy, which is like a normal average number. Game two was like 1.15, normal average number. Tonight was 1.4, which is just like a bonkers number to be there. They outscored the Lakers 24-18 per synergy tonight in transition points. Part of the reason for that is that the Lakers are crashing the glass. And also the Lakers outscored the Nuggets, I think like 18-9 tonight in terms of second chance points. So it's kind of working, but when you watch the product, it's actually not. Like, you can just see that it's actually not working. And another piece of this puzzle is we're going to talk about your guy, Dennis Schroeder, as well. He had some moments tonight where it was like a little bit floppy, and certainly Anthony Davis had a couple of moments where he fell on the ground. LeBron James had a couple of moments where he fell on the ground. The Nuggets kill you when you lay on the ground for an extra split second in transition. They will destroy you. And maybe that's where we start, because I think that let's just dive into the tape, because I think that this is like a really good place to go. There were, I think, 2 things that really stood out in terms of the tape. First, it was, I think Darvin Ham made a colossal mistake starting D'Angelo Russell in this game. Yeah, I think you should have started Rui over D'Angelo Russell. That is almost like a non-negotiable going into this game. I looked at the numbers in terms of like 3-man lineups with Davis, Rui, and LeBron. And it was like very clear that like they should be playing this lineup. They're a plus 10.6 in 29 minutes, and they're giving up 93.9 points per 100 possessions in the 30 minutes that those guys have played together. So start those guys, play those guys. It's just, I don't get it. So the first play here is just literally you're going to run like D'Angelo Russell and all these guys through a bunch of like screening actions here. So he's guarding KCP, and the end result is just he takes a really shitty route around this dribble handoff from Nikola Jokic, or this screen from Nikola Jokic, and catches and fires from the mid range. Yep. It's just, what are we doing here? Like, this is just atrocious. So here's the second one. Ends up picking up Jamal Murray in kind of a cross match situation in transition. And here, Jamal Murray is just like, okay, this is barbecue chicken. This is D'Angelo Russell. This is the matchup I want. Just takes the screen, gets around him. D'Angelo Russell just can't get around the snake screen, right? He can't do it. It's just not something that he's capable of. And then this one was just a total mess. This is what we were getting back to in transition, right? Where they're cross matching, they're trying to find everybody, right? Jared Vanderbilt ends up kind of having to take the ball here, because if you can see, Russell is saying to take the ball. He's the guy that's behind Nikola Jokic here. He's saying to Jared, take the ball, take the ball. Russell kind of peels off there of Jokic because he sees that LeBron is there. You would think that the way that this works is that Russell then goes up to Murray. Davis, getting back in transition, flies back to Porter to the corner. But that's just not the way that this worked in actuality. And D'Angelo ended up guarding nobody, and they left Jamal Murray wide open for three. And I think this is the shot that really got him going, because this was, I think he's 3 for 3 at that point, 7 points. Or no, he's 2
that was 2 for 2.
5
That was just his second bucket, and he just once he hit that one, that rhythm step in three is the one that guys love, man, because that's the one that you just as soon as it comes off the fingertips, it feels so good. And like, for a guy like Murray, like, you could tell that just got him going. But yeah, I mean, it's just the mental lapses from DAR are just, they're hard for the Lakers to get by, because again, like we said, like, the margin for error is not real large against a team with this many options. And they're just, you can't have him out there if he's going to be like this, and also taking bad shots.
Yeah. So here again, like, this is just a cross match in transition. D'Angelo Russell and Jamal Murray's like, okay, I'm just going to keep this out. Nicola's going to set a screen, and like, Russell does fine here. It's just that Jamal Murray doesn't feel him there, right? Like, if Jamal's not going to feel you there, you're basically done already. So here, this is finally Jared Vanderbilt getting him in transition, but Vanderbilt just gets absolutely crossed up on the rejected screen. Yeah. And now you're in a circumstance where it's just an easy floater for Jamal, right? Jamal was just on fire at a certain point here. So this next one is just a transition play again.
There's Dennis flop.
Dennis flop on the ground. And look, we've got Austin Reeves behind the play a little bit. At least LeBron is like tracking back, but this is a 3-on-2 at the end of the day. You see Reeves, you see LeBron, and then Dennis is way back there. And you have a 3-on-2. And it's the thing that I think the Nuggets have done really, really well in these 3-on-2s. They will pass the ball off, and the second guy that catches will attack the man that's playing 1-on-2 in defense, right?
Yes.
He will force that guy to actually contain the ball in transition and not be able to like kind of play 1-on-2 in space, right? By attacking the man, you create these open shots. So here he gets the ball to Gordon. Davis has to actually contest and make sure that he stays attached to Gordon here. And then Gordon knows that Michael Porter is wide open in the corner. And that's just an easy shot for Michael Porter. That's a walk-in 3. Simple.
Well, and so that's I mean, and that's the difference. It's a good point you mentioned, because like, a lot of guys will catch that and immediately swing, and Davis can kind of step in and stunt. And like, the patience to take that extra dribble into the lane and like really fully collapse the defense is, I think, the hallmark of this Nuggets team, is that patience and willingness to not skip steps trying to get that shot. Like, they're so good as a team of creating good looks because they have that good process to do it. And like, not a lot of teams do that. Like, a lot of guys would catch that and immediately kick it to the corner, and Davis could probably get it.
Totally. And having 5 guys that can dribble. That's the big thing. Like, Aaron Gordon can dribble. Michael Porter can dribble. Like, you have 5 guys that can attack. Look at this again. So Rui way behind the play here again in transition. And this is Jokic just sprinting back. I think Anthony Davis did a little bit better tonight of like just sprinting back and getting back in transition as quickly as he could. But again, this is a 5-on-4 because Rui is way behind the play. And this is just what Denver kills you. And this is, Aaron Gordon just being able to bully up Austin Reeves. It's simple. Here we go again. Just Jamal Murray coming off. This is where we get into the second quarter here, where they really started to switch. They put LeBron James on Jamal Murray, right? Mm-hmm. So they started to switch all these kind of middle screen actions. So LeBron ends up on Jokic here, gets the kick out to Rui. And just look at how far Rui steps into the paint on this step back from Jamal.
And I think something this postseason I think has really shown is like Rui's like very clearly a big. And like, I think if what we've seen is like defensively, like when you throw him on a guy like Jokic, who's going to try to post him up, or like he's so strong. But the thing he has always struggled with, right, is that movement in space, and he can just get. I mean, Jamal took half a step inside the 3-point line, and Rui's at the free throw line. Like that's his issue defensively, is when you get him out in space. And like, they did a good job of taking advantage of that in the first half.
Yeah, and then here in the second quarter, we really start to get into these like switching actions, and we start to get into just miscommunications in general here. So this is Aaron Gordon bringing the ball up. You see here, Jokic, just this like beautiful little like step up off ball screen to get behind LeBron. Rui, it looks like, does not say anything here. Like, I don't think Rui called this out at all. Just kind of looking at it. Maybe he did. Like, I'm not there. I'm not listening like to the communication, but like he's not pointing. He's not doing anything. So this ends up having to be a switch at the end of the day with Jamal. And also, like, LeBron is just like very high here, and this is hard. He doesn't really fight back into this when Jokic like very clearly has him sealed in such a substantial way. And this is just hard. This is really hard. The lack of communication, the lack of just that kind of continuity in terms of the off-ball actions, in terms of the on-balls, as we'll see here momentarily. It's really tricky. So Jamal's just going to come up here, and I think this is the Jokic one. So Jokic gets the ball, and Jamal's going to come around to the other side and set a screen. And it feels like they don't know who's going to take who. It feels like LeBron isn't sure if this is going to be a switch. Rui isn't sure what they're going to do here. And if you give Jokic that extra split second, he's just going to step into it. It just felt like they didn't really know in the second quarter what exactly and how exactly they wanted to run these defensive coverages. And again, this is another one, right? So you're setting up here. Shout out all of the Lakers fans courtside. But like,
how do you not pick up the guy who's like on fire above the 3-point line? How is nobody above the 3-point line to pick up Murray here?
Yeah, and again, this is LeBron here. Like, LeBron needs to be there. And look, Aaron Gordon did a great job of angling his body so that LeBron couldn't get that late contest. This is a like just little sharp angled screen here from Aaron Gordon. But LeBron needs to be up higher. Like, LeBron can't let himself get below the 3-point line when his responsibility is Jamal Murray, who is on an absolute fucking heater.
Right. At this point, Jamal's 640 left. Jamal has to have like 20 at this point.
Yeah. No, he's probably got like 24, 25. Yeah. Like, it's absolutely sick. And here's another one coming. So Jamal comes across here. They set this little screen that's just an auto switch. And I don't really even feel like they should be switching this action. But then here we go again. This is one where it feels like the Lakers don't really know what they're running here, right? Let's go back to the past one with where we sent Rui on skates, like toward the elbow, right? So it feels like here, I think this is that was the one before this. Yeah, it's the one before this. This one, they're icing it. Right. You can see here, this one, they're very clearly icing this side ball screen, and they're treating it like an ice, even though it's a slip action. And even though you can see Jokic coming up, this is being treated like an ice where Rui is trying to get over the top and Anthony Davis is trying to play low, right? He's trying to cut off and he's trying to bait him and goad him into that mid-range jumper. But ends up being that Rui gets hit with that step back and he goes, right?
Well, the thing is like, it looks like AD thinks it's an ice and Rui thinks there might be a switch there, because Rui kind of like tags AG there, like, and tries to like run in with him. Like, so that's still like, they don't know what they're doing even there.
And let's get back to this one, right? So what you're going to see here as we get back into the play, they get this switch first to get Rui onto Murray again. And now, again, it's a confusing situation where it looks like they're trying to decide if we want to ice or if we want to blitz. To me, someone freelanced here. And I think that LeBron probably freelanced a blitz is my guess on this one.
Yep.
And if you're blitzing against Jokic, you're dead. Like you are DEAD dead.
Yeah.
He is going to get that pocket pass. You're going to have to step up if you're Anthony Davis, and he's going to absolutely obliterate you in the 4-on-3. Look, it's very possible that they called out a switch and LeBron was just trying to get higher up because Murray is unconscious, right? And that Rui just didn't peel. I don't know what they're trying to run here. Like, I want to be very clear about that, but it's clear that one of those two players also does not know what they're trying to run. And I don't know which one it is.
Well, the funny thing is here, like, honestly, Jokic probably made that pass too quickly. I was talking about with AG, like pressuring AD a little more. Like he lets AD have a chance here by going that quick on the bounce pass. Like he probably should have let AD step a little higher, but like, it doesn't matter because that's the thing that Aaron's the best at is those little like pump finishes under the rim. But yeah, I mean, like it's funny because like the half court stuff was in the second half, it got a little better. But yeah, I mean, like we said at the beginning, like it's just the margins are so thin. And when you have a guy like Rui, who they took some advantage of on the switch, I think this time in a way that they hadn't at times in the first couple games. And maybe that's something they found in that fourth quarter when Jamal kind of got loose last time. I'd have to go back and look if they ran a lot of this similar stuff. But they might realize like if we can get these little switches and get Rui in the action where he's the on-ball guy, is that clearly was kind of the goal, is like get that quick switch, then run it again. Because they didn't want to ISO. They just wanted to like get him involved in another ball screen as the on-ball defender, because he's probably not calling stuff out in the way, or they realized LeBron wasn't calling stuff. Somebody wasn't communicating right. I'd take a guess that started in the fourth quarter and was what they kind of just were like, let's just see if we can keep making it work.
Yeah, no, I think that's a really, really good call. So here, Aaron Gordon gets fouled on the end of this play. This is now end of the second quarter, and this is Rui. They're trying again to get Rui switched on to Jamal. They get it here. Again, though, compared to the last play, this is very clearly them icing this coverage, right? Because they're going to get Jamal here, going to set this side ball screen. Rui gets into perfect ice position, right? Dennis is fighting over the top. Dennis is trying to recover back in, and they end up just kind of doubling here. The guy who's like, I don't know where Austin Reeves is on this play, to be totally honest.
He's just kind of freestyling.
Yeah, so it feels like they were trying to overload the empty side a little bit, maybe. Like Austin Reeves is super smart, so like I don't think he would have just completely left KCP, like unless it was for a reason. It's the same with LeBron. Like on that last play, like part of me wants to believe like LeBron is like a basketball genius. Like very clearly he saw something and like was trying to do it. It's just whether or not the communication error was his or Rui's, right? So Austin Reeves just completely like leaves KCP here. KCP gets to the corner. Aaron Gordon also in the corner. And they're eventually going to get this ball to Jamal. Austin's like still in no man's land on the strong side of the action here. And they end up with like three guys on Jamal. Michael Porter's waving his hands wide open. Wow. We've got like a little mini hammer screen here for Aaron Gordon on the baseline on Jared Vanderbilt.
Look how early he sets that up, though. Look how early he moves from the dunker spot right there. He like realizes like that's not like he starts that 2 seconds before, and he's just like, well, I'm just gonna stand here. Like it's one of the things that makes Aaron like valuable, even though he won't shoot right now. Like it's why they could get away with it. Although what happened eventually in the fourth quarter that kind of turned the tide for the offense was taking AG out and putting Jeff Green and MPJ in. But like, it's why he was still playable, is because like, he's really smart at making these little kind of plays and moving up there early, realizing like, I'm not the guy who should get this. Like we got 2-on-1 over here.
It's just super high IQ basketball. All of these guys are super high IQ. That's a just beautiful little kick out to KCP. Fires, makes it. Now we're into the second half. again, 2 Lakers behind the play. They crash the offensive glass super, super hard here. And Jokic is just leading the break. Immediately sees that LeBron, I believe that is, goes to Aaron Gordon. This isn't me cooking LeBron at all. No, this is, I think, probably the right call by LeBron.
100%.
He stunts toward Aaron Gordon a little bit, tries to get out to contest the 3. Again, though, it's a 4-on-2. It's basically an impossible situation for the Lakers because they're crashing the glass. They don't have enough bodies. Another one. LeBron is on the ground here, and like you never know if LeBron's hurt or not.
That was the one where he like turned his ankle.
Yeah.
That was one where he stepped on somebody's foot stepping back. But yeah.
Totally. It's a 5-on-4 again.
5-on-4.
Right?
And
like and look, like it's one of those things where like they hammer every single thing where you get a mismatch, every single thing where they have a man advantage. They hammer it every single time, and it's genius. They're all super smart. Bruce Brown's a super high IQ player. Jeff Green has been in the NBA for decades at this point, it feels like. I mean, all of these guys are super fucking intelligent, and they just go. And the Lakers' transition defense has not been good enough in this series, just straight up. That is the issue for them, in my opinion. This one is 7 minutes left in the third. They kind of clear out here. Why did I pull this, Robbie? I don't remember.
Let's find out. What we got? We got Bruce Brown coming around. I assume this is another D'Angelo thing because he's lost again.
Yeah,
that's my assumption is we're targeting D'Angelo here. So we got a little double. Little stagger. D'Angelo, look. Here's the thing.
He does the right thing here. He peels onto Gordon. That's what he should do.
Well, now we've got 3 guys around Jamal again.
So this is LeBron. This is LeBron on off-ball defense.
He just okay. He bails on MPJ. All right.
Yeah, he bails. So LeBron is guarding Michael Porter Jr. There's no communication on a switch here.
Oh, and it's Bruce Brown. I thought Jamal was on the ball. Why are you?
Yeah, no, you're crowding Bruce Brown. LeBron just kind of like floats off of Michael Porter here. That's a closeout that Austin Reeves can make just straight up, like onto KCP. I have no idea why LeBron is this far toward the baseline on this play. He just like completely peeled off and left Michael Porter.
Well, you know, the thing that's like killer about these is each of these is like within a couple possessions. And like the Lakers would get some momentum offensively and maybe get a stop and get it close or even take the lead. They just could never string together stops because as soon as they miss a shot, then they're in just hell. Like they have no. And this wasn't even coming off a semi-transition. This is just bad defense. But like their inability to string together stops has been noticeable throughout. And it's a testament to like Denver, who like they would get really bogged down, it felt like, but they just kept being ahead by a couple points. Like they just had such a knack of being able to create some offense to not let the Lakers go on those like 10-13-0 runs that the Nuggets were able to go on and push it away. And that's also been another big thing this series is like LA can't get an extended run and Denver can. And those things are so big.
No, that's definitely right. And this is just like a sick action on some level
this
too,
is awesome, but
yeah. So like you set this little, it's like a classic like flex kind of offense set that you turn into like an empty side double drag essentially. So like you're going to see Michael Porter, he's getting this screen from Jamal Murray on the backside. He's going to flex cut like toward the basket across the play. And then you have Bruce Brown come over. He's going to get this double drag from Jamal Murray and Aaron Gordon. And it's just like, wait, like this is like classic, like flex 5 out, like everybody can handle, everybody can play on the ball.
Well, it's also really smart
5 guys that can. Yeah.
Well, it's also really smart when they're denying Jamal that hard to like run him up like he's coming to get the ball and then use him as the first screener. Like you could tell that threw them off because Vanderbilt wasn't in a position to do anything to stop the ball because he's just in full ball denial mode. So like it's just it's good offense to run given what they are trying. You know the defense's main objective is, and that at this point was still keep the ball out of Jamal's hands.
It's just absolutely sick. Like this team is sick. The Denver Nuggets are sick on offense.
So good.
Like the shit they run is awesome. Like obviously having Jokic is an incredible marginal advantage just because he's like an absolute basketball genius. But it's just like even the offense they're running is like super sick. Like it's not like wildly complicated stuff necessarily. Again, this is just like the flex offense has been around for decades upon decades upon decades, but just like turning this little flex cut into a double drag into an empty side. And like LeBron basically ends up, I don't know, did he think this might be like a hammer play?
I
like,
think so.
Do you think that's possible?
That's why he jumps out the KCP
down. Yeah. Does he think that like this is a hammer play where they're trying to get KCP?
It must.
I think it's possible.
And
right?
It might have been, honestly, like it might have been because like using MPJ to lift the guy off the corner. And it's just a really good read from Bruce Brown to realize like, okay, like LeBron didn't lift. So that means Michael's open. So like just throw it to the wing, you know, like it might have been designed to be a hammer play. Cause you see how KCP kind of just like falls back and MPJ lifts, like,
yeah,
might have been what they were going for. And LeBron did read it right. He just also didn't realize that Austin was in position to kind of stop it. Cause he's not helping that hard down to the rim. Cause it's Bruce Brown driving on Anthony Davis. Like you don't need to help him that much.
I think that is right. I think that is what LeBron sees here, but like, there's no screen exchange either on the backside, really. Like, yeah, it's just not great defense from LeBron.
It's not great defense, and it's just a really good offensive night and using your players in the right position, right? Like there's two guys who can shoot on the floor right there, and you have them both in the position to knock down shots, right? Like that's just that's using your personnel well. Like if for some reason that's Aaron Gordon in the corner, like LeBron lifts for sure, and it's just like take that shot. But you have KCP at this point had knocked down a couple in the third. And so they're kind of keying in on him. And then you have the other guy who can shoot on the floor in MPJ over there. So it's just a good use of your personnel.
No, totally agree. Here we go again. Jamal Murray coming off of just like a little loop play. Okay, so this is just them kind of getting lost. Dennis is on the ground here. And I just don't love that LeBron goes to Jeff Green here. Like to me, LeBron should be stunting toward Green and letting Green take that open three and then flying toward Michael Porter, right?
Yeah, I mean, this one, this one's tough, but it's definitely like that. Yeah, like
that's there's one.
I'm not gonna. No, that's just see the ball going to somebody open, and then you kind of. I think he probably just processed that one at the end. Yeah, and was like, well, damn.
I would like him to like make an effort to go to one of them, like close on one of them hard.
He's tired.
Like if you're going to stunt, I know. If you're going to stunt toward Jeff Green, then go to Porter. If you're going to just close out on Green. I think that's reasonable. But like, don't just stand in the middle and don't not contest anybody either. You know what I mean?
It's not great, but not great. You know, he's played 40 back to back, so we're tired.
And he has that, like, who knows, like, how the ankle's feeling after he turns the ankle. Like, there are a million things. Like, and so much of this is happening so fast, unbelievably fast.
For sure.
This shit is.
But I mean, this is also what is the difference, and LeBron knows that too. Like he knows it better than anyone. Like it's a tough situation to be in, and I mean they're just. But again, like, what is this in their 2-point game? Like. LA was scoring. LA's offense was doing solidly. Like even without LeBron putting a ton of pressure on the rim, they're getting to the line. Anthony Davis having a great game. Reeves having a great game. Rui was hitting shots again. Like they were doing solid offensively. It was just again like when they missed, they got punished, and then they just could not string together enough stops. And again, it's a testament to what Denver doesn't, and also that's another one where like Aaron Gordon going and getting the rebound because he's got a mismatch on Schroeder on a bunch of switches, like to say like I can go get this board.
And another thing that I want to be very clear about as we talk about this, every NBA defense is going to break down. Like that's the reality of this. Like NBA defenses can't be perfect. There are too many talented offensive players, especially at this level, playing in the Western Conference Finals against one of the best offenses in the league. The Lakers will never be perfect. in this circumstance. But it's more that the Nuggets just are systematically built to absolutely fucking destroy you every single mistake that you make. And I think that is what is the takeaway here, more than like, look, the Lakers have a lot of breakdowns defensively. That is accurate, but it's more a testament to the Nuggets skill level to me than anything else.
Yeah. And it's also, I think the thing that we're seeing in these clips is like a lot of this is not Jokic, and we so often talk about how Jokic will pick apart defenses, but like it's so clear that this whole team has kind of picked up that knack of like, we know where we're all supposed to be. They all know who is going to be open depending on what again with the Bruce Brown play, like knowing that if LeBron stays in the corner, MPJ is going to be open on the wing, and he doesn't miss a beat there, and like that's a little bit new, I think, for this Denver team, because like, I'll ask you this, like, is Will Barton making that pass? Not like he's not making that pass that Bruce Brown makes. And Will Barton's a very nice player, but like it's how they upgraded the playoff rotation. I wrote about this a couple weeks ago. It's like they traded away regular season depth and banked on their stars being healthy. But the only way they're doing anything is if their stars are healthy. So why not build the best team around your healthy stars? Why worry about mitigating Jamal or MPJ missing time? Because you're cooked probably if those guys miss time. So why not
100%
why not build the best roster around? Like I think teams sometimes fall in this trap, especially if they've had guys who have gotten injured, of being like, well, we need to be ready if they miss X amount of games. If they're missing games in the playoffs, you're cooked no matter what. So why not build the best 7-man? I mean, he's running 7, barely 8. Like, he's trying to get away with as few Christian Brown minutes as he can.
Yeah.
And everything else is just the 7 dudes. And KCP and Bruce Brown are the 2 that they brought in. And it's made all the difference. And like, Jeff Green is just like, he's not going to make catastrophic mistakes, right? Like, that's what he's there for, is be in the right spot. Like, he had one, like, he tried to like step up and take a charge on LeBron on a drive, and I was like, Jeff, come on, you've played with this man. Grow up, Jeff Green. Come on, you can't step in front there like that. Like, he's just gonna Euro you. It's gonna be and1. At least hack him.
Yeah.
Like, but yeah, I mean, like they just like Jeff Green's the weak link, but he's the 7th man. If Jeff Green's your 7th man, you're in pretty good shape. But it was such an upgrade adding KCP and Bruce Brown, especially if Bruce Brown's going to knock down shots. Like, this has been gravy.
Bruce Brown, Bruce Brown being like not just like a good, $7 million a year get. He's like this guy's about to get like $15 million. Feels like in free agency. 100%. Like, he has been absolutely enormous. This is where we now, and I think that your point is great. Like, it's the trickle down effect of Nikola Jokic, right? Like, Nikola Jokic gets the ball on the break, goes, makes the early pass, and then the other guys are making the right pass, the right play, the right attack at the right time, right? Like, the trickle down of Jokic being on the court is very real. And I think that as much as Jokic dominating Rui, which we'll talk about here in the fourth quarter, now that we're into the fourth, like, that is the big thing. There is such a substantial trickle down effect with Jokic. So here, Jokic just gets the ball on the block. This is 10 minutes left in the fourth. And I think this is where he just realized, I'm going to go to work.
I want to talk about this one in particular, because we talked early in the game about how they needed to not have D'Lo on the floor. You can't play the Rui matchup here with Anthony Davis not on the floor. This gave Jokic... This flipped the switch. Like, Jokic was really tentative when AD was on the floor. It was working. Like, everybody talked about, they're going to adjust to the Rui thing. When it was Rui and AD for game 2 and most of game 3, like, Jokic was pretty hesitant. He was not looking to do his thing offensively. He was not looking to score. He was kind of tentative about going into the paint. Right here, like, you can't have Rui at the 5 and LeBron at the 4 against Jokic. You just can't do it, because like, Jokic doesn't care if LeBron comes and helps. What does he care? Austin Reeves is the low man? Like, what are we doing? Like, you can't have that. That is the type of mistake. Like, I know you're trying to buy AD some rest, but you can't structure the lineup this way when Jokic comes back in. The other thing was Jokic just sat for 8 minutes.
Yeah.
Like, the foul trouble turned out, I think, to be a blessing in Denver's favor disguise, because here's the thing. If
they survived without it,
they survived. It was like a -3 without Jokic, which, like, if you told Michael Malone they could go 8 minutes and be a -3 without Jokic, he would do it every game.
Yeah.
If they could do that, he would be like, yeah, I'll take that. And Jokic came in and they don't have AD out. He puts the little spin on Rui. There's nobody there. Like, D'Angelo Russell's not going to help. Look at him. He's even looking. He doesn't even bother going over. Like,
yeah,
it's just, it was, that one got him going. And then from there, it was a masterclass, because he was also the freshest legs on the floor.
Yeah, no, it's 100% right. And you're like, I don't even blame, like, I would like to see Russell like do something there.
Yeah, but
like,
what's he going to do? Like, I don't even blame him. Because also, if he crashes,
Porter,
it's MPJ. Like, it's going to be a corner three.
Yeah, no, like, that's fine. It's just that Rui is not a great matchup for Jokic is the thing. So here, yeah, they're going to get Rui one-on-one against Jokic again. Just going to drive over the top. This is with AD on the court, but I think that he recognizes that with AD, Jeff Green opposite corner, this is a long rotation, even for Anthony Davis. And he just feels like he can beat Rui to the spot and get to the spot that he wants.
He also like uses Rui almost as a screen on Anthony Davis. Look how he keeps, like, he doesn't try to blow by Rui. He just says, I can go over Rui. I can't go over AD. So he just like AD and throws a hook shot over. But this was another thing that Malone did. This is when he took Gordon out and played MPJ at the 4 and Jeff Green. And so he had two guys in the corners that were spacing AD out 2 steps further.
That's right.
Nobody's in the dunker spot. So he just says, go to work.
Yep, that's absolutely right. I think that was the critical thing. Playing Michael Porter Jr. They've been closing with a lot of not Michael Porter Jr. at times, or like going long stretches in the 4th without Michael Porter. Going Michael Porter in the 4th was big here, not even because of the production. Like, Michael Porter played really, really well today. Like, he had 14 points and
career
10
high
rebounds
assists.
Were critical. He had 6 assists.
Did you know that's a career high for him? 6.
It doesn't surprise me. If
I mean, not surprising, but it's just, it was incredible.
Yeah. So here we go again. Just Jokic, 7:30 left in the game. And now we're just backing down Rui. And this is where the trickle down effect comes, right? Because, AD realizes, okay, I'm going to have to help because he's just scored back-to-back buckets on Rui. I'm going to have to help. I have to double. Also, Jokic realizes I can just hit this kick out. They'll swing it to the corner. Boom, boom.
What's Lonnie doing here? Why are we digging on a double? Like,
yeah, it's a fair point.
Why?
Yeah, he needs to be attached.
To know, like, you just have to stay out. Like, if Jokic can make that pass to the corner,
like, damn sure can make the one pass away pass.
But like,
no, but like, here's the thing: like, if he floats it over the top of Anthony Davis here, because that's what it has to be. It'd have to be a floater over the top. You can assume that you can get to that corner on an X out, right? Because it's going to be a high arcing pass to get there. I get it. Like, you do have to, it is, again, like, it comes down to instinct, right? Like, on some level, the instinct here is he knows he's in a 1-on-2 scenario. He knows that's Jokic in the middle of the court, and he knows he's responsible for closing out onto both of those guys. And if he has to go to the corner, then Rui has to go up and X out. Or if he has to go to the wing, he has to go to the wing, right? This is just, to me, it's because of the gravity of Jokic. They have to get this.
No, it's for sure the gravity. It's just, I feel like, and like, yeah, you're right. I mean, Jokic can make that pass to the corner, so maybe you're cooked either way, but like, it just feel like you're putting yourself in no man's land when, like, you could at least take one option away.
And you're not wrong either. Like, here's the
other
I
understand.
Like, like,
things are moving quickly.
Jokic is absolutely so sick in terms of a passer. So right as he turns here, he can put the ball in his left hand if Walker isn't in that passing lane and just fucking fling that thing to the corner.
That's fair.
Like, on a wraparound, left hand offhand around Davis. Like, he's just gross. Yeah. Like, it's just the trickle down of Jokic's impact here again.
And
like,
that was the last time the Lakers had the lead. And also, I think this is when they started a 13-0 run. That was the beginning of it.
That was the beginning of the 13-0 run.
Here again, AD on the back.
And this is honestly good transition defense. This is like, I have no complaints here. But,
well,
again, the gravity of Jokic, where AD feels like he's got to
get all the way back.
get a body on Jokic, because if he doesn't, Rui's already pinned fairly deep in this circumstance. There's just nothing Rui can do. But again, like,
it's also a good job
Porter wide open.
It's also a good job of Murray, like, keeping AD on his hip as he ran down, so AD couldn't get past him.
Yep.
Like, he does a really good job of just like holding him on the hip and just dribbling. Like, he wasn't trying to sprint. He was just like, I'm going to hold the big fella back. And then once he gets to the 3-point line, AD darts in and he's got the man.
Yep. And by the way, again, what we were talking about in transition earlier, Michael Porter Jr. could easily take this pump fake, relocate, take a sidestep three. Instead, he attacks with one dribble, forces the closeout from the corner, and then he kicks it to the weak side, or kicks it to the corner. Bruce Brown, wide open three, bang. Gravity of Jokic, patience, every single thing we've talked about in these clips magnified into one single thing there, I thought. And then here we go again. This is the 99 to 94. I think this is literally the next time down the court. Jamal Murray comes down. Jokic, AD's there on a double. He's waiting. He's just straight doubling. They force. This is a really just smart cut, in my opinion, here by Jeff Green. Force Austin Reeves to kind of just dig and tag that cutter a little bit. You get the wide open kick out to Bruce Brown. Bruce Brown
Dennis flops.
Kind of pumps, and then Dennis flops. Yeah, this was, I think, one of four. Yeah, one of four that we called out in the middle of these clips. Dennis, come on, man.
Like, I know what you're doing. You're trying to get 5 on Big Honey here.
Yeah.
But, like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
They even called out on the broadcast. Like, Jeff Van Gundy just appalled at Dennis right there.
So disgusted. Like, look at him. I mean, he literally steps right in front of Jokic's line because he sees him coming, and he's like, I'm going to take an off-ball charge into my back.
Scott Foster, like, busted open, like, prime Ric Flair, not calling it, not having it. Crimson Mask, Scott Foster.
Oh, my God. And then here, this is the second to last one. We get this play here. We've got Jamal coming down, kind of an empty side, sort of clear out action. It's not even like a screen really, because it's so deep. But no, it's Bruce Brown again, by the way. Brown. We keep doing that. Just wraps around. And then
Austin Reeves just in hell.
Absolutely in hell, because look at this is a great screen here, like a little mini screen. I mean, it's not even like a high ball screen, it's just like we're gonna set this little screen as he's coming through. Yeah, I mean, that's an impossible spot.
That's just good luck, young man. Sorry,
dude. And then finally, last one here. This is our last miscommunication from the Lakers in this game, and it came. It was basically the backbreaker. 108 to 101, 3:24 left. Little screen here, a 5-1 ball screen, just your classic 5-1 ball screen.
We love the inverted pick and roll, don't we, folks?
We do. And Schroeder comes out, kind of gets high. I don't really even know what coverage they're running here, if I'm being completely honest. I don't know if they knew either.
We're seeing ghosts at this point on the Lakers defense.
Yeah, like Anthony Davis goes under here, which makes me think he thought it was just a straight switch. He stays attached to Jamal Murray, and Dennis, for some reason, decides to try and recover back. I'm unclear on why he left the ball there.
This was right after a LeBron 3, wasn't it? So, like, they were kind of vibing. They're like, oh, maybe no. Right back.
Just
immediate answer.
Leaves them. I don't know. I don't know on this one. I don't have an answer, because if you go under, you're not icing. Like, it's just it's I think more than anything a testament to the problems that the Nuggets give you.
Well, being by running a 5-1 ball screen, like,
correct.
How many times do you defend that?
Empty
with
side,
3 minutes left in the
5-1.
Western Conference Finals.
Where like maybe AD thought it was an ice, and he's just not used to getting over the top. But Dennis isn't icing here. Like Dennis is like
he's
getting
blitzing,
out.
but like you can't blitz there. So like, yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's just guys being like, that's the thing. It's like you put guys in a position they're not used. You put guys in a position where they're not used to being in a high pressure situation, and like,
yeah,
that's tough, man.
And I think that's the exact pressure that Denver puts on you, and I think that's why they're going to go to the NBA Finals, right? And we'll see what happens in the NBA Finals. Unequivocally, I think they should be the favorite moving forward.
For sure.
But like that is why they're set to go to the NBA Finals. The pressure they put on you is just vast. We're going to spend 10 minutes. We're going to talk about Jimmy Butler momentarily. And then we're going to talk about Fast X because we need to do it.
Yeah.
Okay. Quick commercial break. We'll be right back. All right, Robbie, the Jimmy Butler experience yesterday. I was not watching this game live.
Mm-hmm.
I was like a little bit behind. And then I like just happened to look at Twitter real quickly and I see the timeline just go nuts. And I'm like, okay, I should probably fast forward. And then I see Grant Williams drill a 3. And I'm watching this game on Synergy. And I don't see the full extent of it at first. I see him like just turn. It's like you get the full like sideline or sideline view. And I see him turn and I see him talking to him. And I'm just like, okay, that seems like a disaster. Like that seems like it might not be good. And then I saw the full extent of it. And then I saw the next play. And I was like, oh no. What have you done? Grant, I love Grant Williams. I'm not one of those people that like dislikes him because he's like kind of an antagonist a little bit. He understands the assignment. He knows the role. And he's not nearly as like antagonistic with it with Dylan Brooks. Sure. He's like, he keeps it in check.
George Niang zone, I think.
Yeah. Like, just a more defensive player. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Physical, strong, like really annoying.
Just talks. And you're like,
talks.
What? Should you be talking? Like, that's the constant question with those guys, right? Like, I love those guys that are just like, should you? But like, I guess like none of our other guys are going to talk. So like, go for it, I guess, but sometimes you shouldn't talk.
And like a lot of those guys, Grant Williams is really fucking smart. Like I've talked to Grant. Mm-hmm. Grant is a vice president of the Players Association. Grant is a really sharp dude. I don't know, man. I don't know what you're doing, sir. It comes down, Jimmy scores on him. Jimmy gets in his face. They start talking. They start jabbing. And I mean, my goodness, what happened after that? I think Jimmy scored like 11 points or something like that in the last 6 minutes. And it's just like, come on. Don't let that guy who has fucking obliterated everybody, who there are legendary stories about from Minnesota, where he literally took the third team, beat the starters of Karl Towns and Andrew Wiggins, and screamed at the GM, "You fucking need me." And then they beat Philly last year in the playoffs, if I remember correctly. And he starts yelling, "Tobias Harris over me? You picked Tobias Harris over me?" That's the guy you're trash talking. The guy who takes every little chip and makes it a boulder on his shoulder.
It's not even just that. Like you're doing it to the guy, like specifically this playoffs, who I'm not sure you can name anybody who's played better than. Yeah. Like Jokic is maybe the only guy on his level. Yeah. And he's not killing you yet. So why? Like if you're up, what were they up at the time? Like 8 or something?
They were up,
the Grant 3 put them up 9. The Grant 3 put them up 9. So it's like you're doing well. You need this win. like I get what he's going for is like Boston needed an edge and they needed to find that, but like maybe like it's also at some point you have to realize like maybe your team's not that team that like has that edge. And so if you're not going to be able to go down and like Jimmy Butler can do that and he can like force his team to have that dog in them or, you know, whatever we want to call it. Like he can force that on his guys, even though, I mean, how many guys on that roster other than maybe Kyle Lowry would you really like feel that way about that are playing right now? Like they don't necessarily all have that edge, but Jimmy can give the whole team that edge because he can take over games. Like Bam isn't a guy that like I think about that, you know, like that kind of I'm going to go dominate.
Say this. So not go dominate. I think that every single one of those guys has like crazy confidence. Like Caleb Martin is like a crazy confidence dude. Max Strus is a crazy fucking confidence dude.
But
like Kyle Lowry is like a real, like, I think that is what they have. Like they go into games thinking they're going to win no matter what.
That's fair. And like, I think Butler can accentuate that, but he can also just like make everybody feel really good about themselves because like he's just capable of like doing some crazy things and making, and like, he'll tell you, like he'll get on his guys and he'll tell them like, shoot that shot. Like you got this. And like, I don't know if the Celtics necessarily have that same dynamic and like, they kind of are maybe a little more quiet killers sometimes.
Yeah.
And if that's your vibe based on your stars, maybe don't get the guy who is the loud killer loud, you know, like just kind of leave it be for a minute because you put the onus on, you know, your guys to take over, the other guys to take over. It's not going to fall on you to go get the buckets to match Jimmy as he's going off. So it's like, and like part of the problem Boston has is they need to kind of, I think their guys need to step into those moments a little bit better than they have all year. Like this has been the problem Boston has had is like turning 10-point games into 2-point games. Like in the fourth quarter, like they've turned that's been their issue all year, right? Like
their fourth quarter execution's a mess on offense. It really is.
They don't execute particularly well. They kind of just devolve into a little bit of iso ball. I think they go prevent offense way too soon when they have a lead.
Yeah.
There's only 24 seconds on that shot clock. Like I can't run that much time.
Teams are better than ever at making threes. You can't do it.
Like you can't nurse a 10-point lead.
And to me, there's like nothing more apropos or beautiful to me than, and I mean this with absolute fucking love and respect and appreciation for all of these undrafted dudes on Miami. Like, I genuinely love them. And I think that Miami particularly does a great job of evaluating these guys. These guys are genuine NBA players. Mm-hmm. What I'm about to say might sound a little bit rude, and I don't mean it. Like, I swear I don't mean it that way. There is a beautiful synergy to Jimmy Butler forcing his way out of Minnesota by shouting at the general manager, "You fucking need me," while leading the third team to like a enormous win over the first team of like Marcus Teague, not Marcus Teague, Jeff Teague, Jesus Christ. Jeff Teague, Andrew Wiggins, Karl Towns, etc.
It would have been less impressive if it was Marquise Teague.
If it was Marquise Teague. Shout out Marquise Teague. There's a beautiful synergy to him leading the third team over that first team, and that being like up until, frankly, like the 2021 playoff run, that being his thing that he was known for, right? Him taking a team of Gabe Vincent, Max Strus, very older Kyle Lowry,
Duncan's playing again.
Duncan Robinson's undrafted.
He's just out there again. Like
Max Strus is undrafted. Caleb Martin is undrafted. All of those guys. And like Bam Adebayo is like a different beast, right? Like Bam is unbelievable, and, you know, credit to him. Haywood Highsmith has played like some minutes in these playoffs. Like he's taking those guys to absolute, like the pinnacle right now. Right.
Well,
and
I
I
think it
think
goes
that's
to
like
the
beautiful level, right?
yeah. Well, it goes to the like it's again. I think it's the confidence that he puts in him when he gets going like that. Like you feel like, all right, like
Yeah.
this dude, because he'll just keep telling his guys, like he'll just be like, shoot that shot. Like he wants you to take that shot in that moment when he gives it to you. Because like I think there's value in when you have a guy who can take over the way he has in those fourth quarters. You know the value he places on the basketball too. Like he doesn't turn the
Yep.
ball over. He makes the right play in those moments. So when he passes you the ball, it's very similar to what LeBron has always done. When he passes you the ball, there's a gravity to it. There is there's a belief in that pass coming to me. He's not just passing it so the ball comes back to him. Or he's not just passing it to get into he is the offense right now. If he's passing me the ball, he wants me to shoot this and finish this possession. And I think there's a power in that, in the confidence that it gives guys, that I think is kind of like the way that LeBron operated with those, Cleveland teams, where it's like when he passes you the ball, like there's a little bit of pressure, but there's also like this boost of confidence. Like I'm going to knock down this shot because like the best player in the world believes in me. Well, right now, Jimmy Butler's playing like the best player in the world. And so why wouldn't you, if you're Gabe Vincent, believe you're going to knock down that three, or Max Strus or any of these guys? Like when he's telling you, like, I believe in you to do this, he believes in himself and look what he can do. Like there's something to that, I think, especially with those guys who have kind of like, all these guys have talent. Like anybody who makes it to the league has talent. And we know that, but being able to instill that confidence in guys is so big. And again, that's kind of what I go to is like, I think he elevates that in a way that other stars don't necessarily. Like I think they have that in them to grind.
Jokic
to get
does
here.
This too. I think,
Jokic
by
too.
the way.
Yeah, definitely. Like when he throws you that ball, like Bruce Brown, when he throws Bruce Brown the ball in the corner, he puts it right in the pocket. Bruce Brown's like, all right, this is going to go up. If Bruce Brown's playing somewhere else, he probably Bruce Brown never shot those shots in Brooklyn if he didn't have to. But now he's like stepping into threes.
Yeah. Bruce Brown coming into this season had taken over the course of his career. Let's see what the number is. It looks like, let's say 333s over the course of this season alone. Bruce Brown's played coming into this year. Bruce Brown had played 6,300 minutes and had taken 333s over the course of his career.
Yeah.
This season in 2,000 minutes, he's taken 250.
Yeah. I mean, like
it's real.
It is like when those guys that are the smartest, are the best, give you that ball and put it in and like just do it with that confidence and throwing that pass to you. Like it's not like a begrudging pass, it's not like I got doubled and I'm kicking it out to you. It's like, I'm like, there's something to that. And like, it's something that I think Miami's just feeding off of it, cause I mean, you look at like Duncan coming back, and Duncan didn't play for like a year and a half, like straight up was out of the rotation for like a year and a half. And he comes back in and like, it's credit to him, stay ready, all that. But it's also credit to Bam and Jimmy and these guys to give them the confidence of like, when we get you the ball, like if Bam sets you that DHO, like put that thing up. He's going to get you the space that you need. When Jimmy passes you the ball, he wants you to put that thing up because he knows he can go get a shot. He's giving you the ball because he thinks that shot's good and better than what he can make. And you know how good he is. And I think there's a lot of value in that. And I don't know if necessarily Boston has that same trust.
Yeah.
And belief.
No, I agree.
Now. Like straight up, like when Jalen and Jason go kind of iso ball, like it feels like sometimes they throw grenades out rather than trying to like get guys in the flow.
And like Derek White is more talented than everybody on Miami outside of Bam and Jimmy, obviously. Like Derek White is better than these guys. Derek White is not playing better than Caleb Martin in this series right now.
No.
Like that is the reality of the situation. That is a statement that I never thought I would make, but it does feel like that. Like it feels like Derek White kind of is playing without confidence right now.
Mm-hmm.
And that sucks. Like that really sucks. Yeah, it's awesome. This is one of the coolest, most surprising title. This team was like on the ropes in the playing game. They got blown out by Atlanta.
They're smoked by Atlanta, like
a
not good Atlanta team. And then they were down 15 to Chicago.
Yes.
I believe in the second game, like a bad Bulls team.
If DeMar DeRozan lets his
unbelievable.
daughter miss like school the next day, they might not be here.
Oh my God.
It's unbelievable.
It really is.
It's genuinely the most surprising title run, like potential finals run.
Sure.
Even frankly, like it's the most surprising conference like championship run or like finals run that I can remember. And it's a credit to Jimmy Butler first and foremost, but like all these dudes that are just feeding off of Jimmy, it's real.
Well, and it's one of those things where it's like, I think we have a really hard time talking about the playoffs just generally because we all want to think about sample size and we don't want to overreact. And I think there's this general idea of like, we want to believe at some point things are going to come back down to earth. Like there's a reason Boston was minus 650 or whatever coming into the series. Like you're like, but I think the hardest thing to do is just accept that sometimes maybe what we've seen over 3 weeks in the playoffs is just what it is right now. And like, sometimes we do. And like, I know people are like, oh, it devalues the regular season. I'm like, I don't necessarily think that's the case. Cause look, we got Denver in the other half that's playing the best basketball and they were the best team all year in the West and they're still playing the best basketball. And like, the Lakers were the 7th seed, but the Lakers were also the best Western Conference team in the second half of the season.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't devalue the West or it doesn't devalue the regular season. It's just sometimes
Boston was the number 2 seed. Like they were the second best team in the league this year. Like,
sometimes you have outlier shooting, but like sometimes like this is just what happens in the playoffs and it's okay to acknowledge that and move on. And like sometimes the team just gets it together at the right time. Sometimes the team doesn't. Sometimes the team peaks in March. Sometimes you're the Bucks and you just peak in March and it's just tough. That's the way a game where you throw a ball through a hoop works. Like sometimes a team can get hot and a team can stay hot. And so far, Miami's doing it. And like the thing is like it felt like the regular season, like we've been wondering why Miami hasn't been shooting well for like 2 years. Like we were like, we've seen all these guys make shots.
Yeah.
So it shouldn't be like a total shock that like Max Strus can shoot. Or like Gabe Vincent's a good player or, like any of this, like, and we've seen Jimmy do this. Like he shoots his threes. He saves his threes for the playoffs.
That's right.
Why not?
That's 100% right. Okay. It's time.
Let's get to the main event.
The main event here. So there's no way to talk about Fast X without spoiling it.
Yes.
Just genuinely, this movie is one of the craziest things I've ever seen in my life. It is a completely batshit experience.
Yeah.
And I there's no way to talk about it without talking about
everything
what the fuck happened in this
everything
movie.
happened. So if you haven't seen it.
So yeah, we just want to be very clear. If you've not seen Fast X, this is going to be a spoiler conversation.
And you care.
If you want to see it.
Care.
Yeah, like by all
come
means,
back to
like,
it later though, because you're going to need this therapy session as well. Like bookmark it here.
Genuinely.
We're an hour, 8 minutes in, bookmark it. Come back after you've seen it because you're going to have hopefully
thoughts
and feelings that we're going to get out here because, boy, like you messaged me last night about it and I was like, I'm seeing it tomorrow. And like I'd seen all the tweets. I'd seen all the like Zach Harper was like, that was what the fuck did I just watch? And like that, Zach saying that was like okay, like I'm getting into something here.
But Zach has a higher tolerance for this.
He's got a high threshold. And here's the thing. So like I saw like Sean Fennessy like melting down about it. And I was like, okay, like that's a movie guy. Like I'm not a like cinema guy. Okay.
Yeah. And for what it's worth, like I listen to the big picture and like Sean has never really liked these movies and that's the reality.
Sure.
Like
so like I was like, I wasn't really worried about like the real like critic people because I was like, okay, these aren't for you. I'm the target audience. I'm the person who enjoyed F9. Like, I thought it was a fun time. Like, whatever. I can suspend.
I was a little bit less high on it.
You were. We had this discussion. We did this last year, and I was like, well, you're right, but also like I had fun, so like cool.
Yeah.
This was like 3 bridges too far, even for me. Like we jumped the shark like 5 times. There had to have been 8 times where I laughed out loud in the theater at a moment that was not supposed to be funny.
I know.
There were...
I looked at I told you this. I looked at Laura 10 minutes into the movie and I was like, this might be bad. Like it was after the fourth like insert shot of Vin Diesel trying to emote with something like emotional, some sort of reaction that he was giving with the camera angle, like low angle coming up high, him looking enormous, like, you know, an angel, like the lighting behind him makes him look angelic. And like, it's just like, what are we doing?
So,
and like, he's like trying to give like dialogue that like is supposed to be impactful about family, obviously, because everything,
of course,
and like the dialogue particularly that he is giving is like some of the most cringeworthy stuff I've ever seen.
Dude, I tweeted after, I was like, did the writer's strike actually start with Fast X? Like, was that actually D-Day for the writer's strike? Because like there were a number of lines that I was like, what are we doing here? And like it's so clear they're trying to jam stuff in. And I essentially, like, it was like half an hour in, I think, after we had like our like eighth like really aggressive jump from scene to scene, like there was just no continuity, where I was like, oh man, Justin Lin bailed on this. That probably should have been a telltale sign.
I think we should mention all of this in terms of the context behind this. So Justin Lin leaves this film in the middle of it, seemingly. I don't know if they were like in the middle of production or in the middle of pre-production. Like it seems it seems like fuzzy on
in
some of the details. Yeah. Some of the details seem very fuzzy, and like there's never really been a great explanation for why he left. So
I think we saw it. I think we have 2 hours and 20 minutes of an explanation.
I was gonna say, like, look, I have some guesses on that. The other piece of this that I think is actually quite important to know. Chris Morgan, for a long time, was the writer on this series. He wrote the 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th films. He also wrote 8, and then I believe wrote Hobbs and Shaw, did not write 9, and did not write this one. Undeniably, 9 and X are the 2 worst written movies in this series. Like there's no way around that. Like we can talk about like Magnets in 9 or whatever, but like these are the 2 worst
dialogue wise
in this series.
Just rock bottom. Like
even like structurally, like structurally, like the script is like not structurally coherent. And then on top of it, Michelle Rodriguez, I think, was in an interview. They were asking her about Louis Leterrier, who is the director who took over in the middle of this for Justin Lin. And she said something like, he really saved our ass. Like he was incredible. Like they didn't have like the back half of a script, I think, or like maybe the final act of the script as they were in production for the film. And they were like trying to do things on the fly. And like Louis Leterrier like did a great job. I gotta be honest, I am not a Louis Leterrier guy. I had a lot of concerns when he was hired for this thing. He made The Incredible Hulk, which is the worst Marvel movie. He made this movie, which is the worst Fast and Furious movie. He made the Now You See Me movies, which I don't really fuck with, but like, you know, some people do, whatever. He's made some like really, really bad stuff. Like he made Clash of the Titans, which was like quite poor. Like is that the one where like Liam Neeson, there was the other one, there was like Wrath of the Titans or whatever. Is that the like Release the Kraken movie or whatever?
Oh, I believe so.
It might be that one. Yeah. I think he is like quite bad. And I think that a lot of those like insert shots of like Vin Diesel, like the camera looking up at like Vin Diesel, like he's an angel, and like trying to like figure out all of the emotional core, I think comes from him. I think he's quite bad at that stuff.
Yeah, like they didn't hit a single emotional note.
Not a little bit.
Not one. Like they they smoked every single one. Like even like I think the moment I realized like we were in for it in terms of dialogue, especially, was the barbecue.
Oh
Like
yeah.
there wasn't even a single good interaction at the
No.
entire barbecue. It was all really disjointed. Like Rita Moreno's just like says like 12 words, like Roman starts eating beans or something. Like it was one of those where I was just like, oh, okay, we didn't hit on any of these. We didn't hit on the emotional note. We didn't hit on the comedy note. We've so far whiffed. And like the barbecue scenes were always like there was always a little cringe to them with the like emotionalness, but like they usually hit on like, you know, better hide your baby oil, better hide that big ass forehead. Like they always hit on like something, you know, in there.
That is probably the best one, I would say.
And so like, to whiff on that was when I was like, ooh, we're in for a long movie in terms of dialogue.
And like and this is where like I'm gonna get into like speculation, but like so much of the problems that I had were like involving asking Vin Diesel to act. I'm someone that like thinks Vin Diesel like has had moments as like a fairly good actor and like actually like a very compelling screen presence a lot of the time.
Sure.
Like he undeniably like he is a compelling screen presence in like the Fast and the Furious movie.
Mm-hmm.
He is a real interesting figure who like just has this like gravitas that you don't quite understand. It's there in like Fast 5, even as the transition
Fast
happens
5 for sure.
more to like family, you know, and as he's trying to pronounce the word father, like there's just like a lot of interest. Like he can actually like hold the screen in a really compelling way.
Mm.
He does none of that in this movie.
No.
I think I've figured out what the problem is.
Okay.
It's twofold. First, it feels like he has like control over this series from 100%. All of the reporting.
100%.
Right. And it feels like he takes that very seriously. And I feel like that seriousness comes into the performance. Like 100%. Everything has to have like this real gravitas. Whereas, like the fun of Fast 5 is that it's a fun movie. Like Furious 7 is emotional, but it's a fun movie. And like the performances are fun.
Yeah.
There's none of that here.
Well, there's one person who has fun in this movie, and he is the best part of this movie, and it's Jason Momoa, and he is the reason to see this movie.
Yeah, I want to hold Jason Momoa for a second.
Sorry, I got excited because I've got so much to talk about with him. He is.
I do too,
and please continue. I'm sorry.
He's amazing in this movie.
He's so good.
I think that the second thing that really cratered this is unfortunately Paul Walker passing, because before it was essentially a two-hander in the middle, right? It was Paul Walker and it was Vin Diesel. And because of that, you had Vin Diesel off center just a little bit, not a lot, right? Just like a small amount. He was still like the central force of it all, but like you had Paul Walker who was able to be there and was able to take on like a lot of the gravity of the film. And Paul Walker is like a very good actor. Like he is not very good, but like Paul Walker's a good actor and can handle these, you know, situations where he's asked to handle these things. He's also like a great like martial artist. He's also like, he was capable of a lot. Like he got really, really good throughout the course of these movies, I think.
Well, and that it also
toward
goes
it being
to,
the shift toward it being one person in the middle, I think goes toward the seriousness now.
Well, it also forced the seriousness because Vin started to take real care in like of the series because Paul had died, and they wanted to make sure I think they've still done a good job with that of like trying to make sure there's always some tie-ins to Brian and like at least trying to kind of explain some things away.
Yeah.
How much you buy into it, whatever. But like, I think he wanted to, like, he always wants to do maybe too well by Paul. And like, they did such a good job with how they ended F7 and handled that moment as well as you possibly could. And since then, it's just been like, it's almost felt forced at times. Which I understand, but it's also kind of, it's when the series took that shift from fun family to like very like serious, like families, everything. We're afraid of losing people. Like that was when the shift happened where everything was about, I'm afraid of like the losing the people I love. And I think it's because of what happened with Paul, because Vin lost one of his very dear friends in real life. And I think it's impact that it makes it kind of, it's tough to like hammer him for it, because like I understand wanting to do that, but like it's also just like the tenor of these movies, it's like it's all over the place. The levels just don't make sense. Like you go from like Roman doing Roman Pierce shit to like a very serious Vin Diesel monologue way too quick. And it's just like there's no time to breathe between.
Like in the middle of there being like a ball rolling through Rome.
Right. Then it's just like, all right. Like, and then like, and there's just like weird choices. Like they were like, all right, we're going to, like they gave Roman like a like sappy monologue in a fucking plane with Tej, like to be like, you're a leader. And it's like, shut up. Like, can we have the fun stuff? Like with like, that's their role is to do the fun stuff. Like, I don't want this whole thing about Roman. Really, you're a leader. It's like, no. But anyway, like, I think tonally, like that's why I understand why we're here. It's just made the movies worse.
It has. No, it really has. The other thing that I think this movie has that's a problem is there's just so much.
Oh my God, they had way too many ideas.
So much movie.
Which is insane because they're doing 3. This was part 1 of a three-part movie. They don't complete the story.
You have so much time.
How do we have this much in this movie? What are we doing? Like nothing felt finished ever. Every single scene was just like, oh, it's done. And then like, we're on to a new thing. And it's like, jump cut. We're in fucking Antarctica now. And it's just like, what?
Well, like,
did they want to do something to say they went to the 7th continent? Was that like the whole fucking reason?
Yeah, like I don't know, but like the thing that like is weird to me is like you have this. You have so many plots. So you have like the Vin Diesel plot, which is like the A plot, right? And then you have Momoa, which is like the B plot that's coming in, and like he's very, very clearly becoming like the main bad guy of the series. And then you have Charlize Theron and Letty, which is like the C plot. And then you have like
Roman Tej.
Han, Roman Tej, and Natalie Emanuel. Ramsey is her name. Which is like totally different. And then within all those plots, you get like these side characters that come in. Like Helen Mirren comes in and has a scene.
Brie Larson is here now.
By the way, you have Alan Ritchson and Brie Larson. That's like a 5th plot that's like coming
and then you have John Cena and
then
Lil B.
Yes, so John Cena and Lil B. That's 6. Like also, genuinely 6 very disparate plots in this movie that are all happening at once. And I think that's actually not all of the plots, because then you also have Jason Statham coming into one of these plots.
Well, and so here's a genuine question I have about filming. Were they not able to get everybody together to film?
I actually wonder that too.
Because it was that same 4, Ramsey, Tej, Han, and Roman, that were constantly together. And then you have Vin and Michelle Rodriguez are together at times, but mostly it's Letty and Charlize. And like, there's a very few scenes where kind of everybody's together. Like you have the barbecue, and then you have like, but they don't even even the penultimate scene, they're not together because 4 of them are in a plane, and then 2 of them are in Antarctica. Like there's not a lot where they're together, and that makes it so much harder to tell. Like so many of these, like all the best ones, like Fast 5, they're all together. Fast 6, they're all together. Even 7, like they're all together in these scenes. So you can tell the little stories and you can have that interplay between all of these characters and serve all of the characters by having them interact with each other rather than tell 6 different storylines and plots because that you try to weave together. Like, I feel like they're all very busy people. And like, I feel like it's really hard to get an ensemble. Like it's become an ensemble cast in a way it wasn't when none of them were particularly big names or hot commodities. And I think that is part of what happened. And like, they're just stitching together a bunch of stuff where they can't have them all together. Because what makes that whole group work is they built the dynamics to work together.
Yeah.
And so when you split them off, you have lopsided stuff. So like Vin needs the comic relief. Like he needs that near him.
Yes.
And so when you don't have it near him, it's just a lot of Vin stuff. But if you just have Ramsey, Tej, and Roman
Pete
together,
Davidson.
and Pete Davidson, hello, and then like Han's just there, and Han's always kind of been like the quirky like one-liner guy, and but
they actually don't know what to do with him. I think
they
having brought him back.
Yeah, and so you have those 3, and they kind of like their whole interplay. Those 3 have always had that interplay together, but like when it's just them, it's just a lot. And like I laughed so hard when Tej goes to the back of the truck, takes a 2-second look at a giant ball of steel, and immediately knows exactly what kind of bomb it is.
Yeah. What?
I was like, so
what?
Like I wrote a whole thing about how funny it is, like Tej's journey from 2 to 9. Because I find it hysterical. Like it's my favorite character arc in the history of movies. Cause like he literally goes from running jet ski races out the back of his garage to fucking outer space. And he's the best hacker in the world. I love it. ITT tech can do wonders, whatever. But like this motherfucker knows what a bomb is off look. He doesn't have to like examine it. Like it's just an orb. And he knows the exact type of bomb. Like, get the fuck out of here.
Oh my god. It's so funny.
Like, and they like, and that's so much of the Tej and Ramsey dialogue is like technical thing. Do. Like, look at this. It's a blah, 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 blah. And it's like, no, don't say that. Like, also, I really enjoyed Crystal pointing this out after we were watching it. She was like, we're 1 movie removed from Ramsey, like not like learning how to drive on the fly.
Yeah, that's right.
And then she's just like, she says some car stuff and Tej like looks at her. She goes, I know things. I'm like, you can't explain it that way. That's not how this shit works. Yeah, I know things now. So you can't fucking say that.
The other
like again, this is this the writer's strike? Like, what are we doing?
So maybe now is when we get into Momoa.
Okay, let's go to the high. The highest of highs.
Because
Oscar.
Momoa is fucking off the rails in this movie.
Oscar.
Unhinged. Like
so fucking good. My name's Dante Ashante. He had so many moments that he was the only one that was like, this is supposed to be fucking fun. And
like he made choices that were fun.
He did. He went for it, like the nails and like the whole, like he just went. The moment where he's like, what should we blow up? And he goes, the Vatican. Like, oh, that's an interesting trip, but we'll do it, but you're going to hell. And it's just like, he's just fucking off the rails in this in the best way. And he's the only one who, and honestly, like, I knew he had like comedy chops but he's always been kind of the one-liner guy. Yeah. And he's just fucking
this is
funny
a complete
in this movie.
Performance.
This is a full-on physical, like everything. And it's like, they even like, I feel like it was partially his, like the dark humor. Like he's fucking painting the toenails of dead guys. Like
that's what I was going to say. There's a scene in this movie where he literally is painting the toenails of 2 dead guys whose eyes he has taped open while he is hacking into a safe or like a bank in order to steal millions upon millions of dollars.
And it works. It's one of
it works.
Like anybody else, this would have been like the most catastrophic scene in the movie. But like, you're just like,
I got it.
That was it. I was like, that was, I'm in. Here's the thing. The reason, like, I will be back for Fast 11. One, because I'm already pot committed.
Oh, we're so pot committed.
We're so deep. Yeah. But also, like, give me 2 more movies of Jason Momoa doing this shit.
Yes.
Like, he is 10 out of 10. He is a Brazilian that does not have a Brazilian accent. I love that he was just like, we're not doing an accent. He's like, I can't do that the whole movie. He's like, I'm just a guy.
Yeah.
We're not bothering. I was like,
no, it's
powerful stuff.
It's perfect.
He's so good. And the thing is, if everybody else acted like that in the movie, this could have been unbelievably fun.
That's the thing. He understands the assignment in a way that
him and Helen Mirren.
I was going to say Helen Mirren does. I think John Cena does. I think John Cena is really good in this movie. John Cena is just generally like a really good actor.
I love John Cena. Have we talked about Blockers before?
No, but Blockers.
Have we ever talked about off-season pod Blockers rewatch?
Yes.
I'm not fucking kidding. I'm not.
This is a good idea.
Okay. Anyway, sorry, I'm not going to derail this for like 20 minutes on this. We'll do a whole pod. But Blockers, incredible. If you haven't seen it, John Cena at his finest. Anyway,
unbelievable. So
it's all the bit people get it.
Yeah. Like Ludacris and Tyrese like understand the assignment. I think that they probably like ad lib most of their dialogue. It feels like, because there's nothing else in the movie that is remotely similar to that.
Sure.
So like they get it. They know what they're going for here. I don't think Vin Diesel does. I don't think Letty does. I don't think Charlize does. I have no idea why
Brie Larson has no fucking clue what the vibe
is. I honestly feel bad for her. I don't think that was her fault.
No, like, I think she's good in most things. And like, this was just like, she was fucking lost.
Yeah. Like totally. And it's not, I don't think it was her fault.
No, again, not on her. It's just, it's like catastrophic script. And
I will say this. The other guy who got it was Alan Ritchson.
Oh, he was great.
He totally gets it.
He was
like, he knows the movie he's in.
He was like, I'm supposed to be the Rock stand-in.
Yeah. Like that tan that he has, I would bet you was a choice on his part.
He was all fucking like, and the other thing is like, he was one of the few guys that like, they gave us just enough of his character to kind of like understand where we were going with him.
Yeah.
You know, like nothing was just like, what the fuck happened here? Like, it was just like, okay, like I get what we're doing with him, but it's only the bit players that we got that. Also, like Helen Mirren pops up randomly in Rome. She's just there. And then she leaves. And then I was like, I mean, I guess they like, okay. Like, I don't know why she was there, but like, good to see her. Love her in the movies. But she just has like info for Dom. Like, it was really weird. It was like when you play like, it's like when you play a video game.
Just pay Helen Mirren $6 figures to come in for 4 minutes and give an info dump. It's great.
Yeah, it was great. She was like fresh off the whatever set with Harrison Ford and was like, I'll come do 10 minutes. In like a pink leopard print jacket. Awesome. 10 out of 10. More Helen Mirren. She's great. But like, yeah, there's just, okay, can we talk about some of like the choices that like, can we talk about the Pete Davidson scene for a minute?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. So Han eats a muffin that is a mushroom muffin, right? Yes. The fun muffin.
Yeah.
He trips for 30 seconds and it never has a payoff.
No,
not once.
Not even a little bit.
Not even it never comes up again. He immediately is just like, okay, we're going to Jason Statham's house. When theoretically he should have been high, like you could have done something.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, isn't he stoned like for that
out of his fucking mind? Like you could have had some real fun with like Jason Statham interacting with a fucking high as shit Han. Would have been great in this movie. Would it not have been?
Yeah, would have been perfect.
Would have been incredible, especially with a guy, that he's beating up in the punching bag, like Han trying to figure out if that was fucking real.
Yeah,
you could have played that, but instead. And Roman's just like throwing powder in the air. No fucking payoff there. What was that? Where'd that come from? He just does it twice and then leaves and we never get anything more. Pete Davidson was good.
It feels like that was like a tacked on scene like at the end. Like, because they were like,
they were just like, hey, Pete Davidson. They were like, hey, Pete Davidson said he's in. Yeah, like maybe that was it. but like save it for the DVD extras or something. Like that scene had no, especially in a movie where you have a bunch of scenes that like needed another 2 minutes to finish off properly and have a transition. Like, why did they do 5 minutes in there?
If you make a 220 movie, I'm probably there for 240 at the end of the day. Like,
tack it on, or you know, we could have cut that and just kind of like done some smoother transitions into scenes rather than like jump cutting to Antarctica. Real aggressive. Like there was some aggressive scene to scene movement.
So that's the other thing that I think bothers, and this is something that bothers me about like Leterrier films in general. Stylistically, they are so computer generated. This movie looks like shit.
It's
like
really bad.
I think that like in my Letterboxd review, it starts with like, we used to do things in this country. We used to drop buses off of cliffs, like and like really absolutely like make them explode.
Do you remember when they shot the parking garage scene in Cleveland during the finals one year?
Yes.
They literally had cars shooting out of a garage. How many cars do you think actually crashed in this movie? Like 10 real cars
10 probably crashed? Yeah. Do you know how many they wrecked? Do you know how many they wrecked in Fast 5? Like over 200. Literally, they have like
they have you ever seen the behind the scenes where they built the like rig for the safe and like drove the safe through the streets? Like there's somebody in the safe drive. It's fucking sick.
It's amazing. It feels like there was nothing tactile, nothing like.
I also have been watching too many. I've been watching too many Tom Cruise movies the last like 2 years.
I know,
and like it's just like fucking ruined shit like this for me.
Totally,
like straight up. Like like you watch like Top Gun Maverick, and you're like, fuck yeah. And we did a whole Mission Impossible rewatch, getting ready for Dead Reckoning. Which, by the way, Dead Reckoning pod.
We will be back for that for sure.
Also win.
Yeah.
Like you're just like, this is the good shit.
It's that, but like, so like there are like a few like random like drone shots of like the like statue of Rio, right? There are like, you know, drone shots like establishing Rome, right? It feels like they're like, I don't know this. It just feels like they're like almost not even in the locations. Like nothing about the like
there's no way they were in Brazil.
Locations, like nothing about that like feels like you're in like in Fast 5, like you are in the favelas, like you can like feel that like with how like they use the geography of the location. In Rome, like they're not even really using the geography of the location, like they're not using the geography
down
of the
a big
location.
hill. Like they did some stuff. Like I don't know what was going on. Also, that scene, let's talk about that. Like I'm all about suspending belief in these action sequences. That's fine. But like I did find it really amusing when the bomb like rolled down the hill and went like straight through a bus, and then like 10 seconds later, Vin Diesel's like steering it with his car after it like went like through a bus, and then like it's not making a dent in the back of his Charger. I was like, this is pretty funny. I enjoyed that.
Like, what are we doing?
And then he does like the F9 thing where he jumps off a cliff, but this time he hits a crane and like swings it. That was great. I did enjoy that. That was like the closest thing to like old Fast and Furious bullshit where like, this is preposterous, this is fun. It felt like they tried to pay off, like, I think they tried to pay off too many like nods to old movies. With
this is exactly. I'm so glad you brought this up,
because like that was exactly
like where I wanted to go.
That was like the safe thing where they have like the ball going through the city, and then they've got
well, no, Robbie, the whole movie, it feels like is them not having like any good ideas on how to propel
play the hits.
Like on how to propel the series forward.
Right.
So instead, they're looking back to the place that like fans love, right? Mm-hmm. Fast 5 is like considered the best film in the series, right? Yeah. So okay, like here's we're closing up the series. Let's go back to Fast 5, right? That's what people will love. And let's bring back Hernan Reyes' son, right? And make him, Jason Momoa, which is a great choice.
I mean, unbelievable choice. Because here's the thing. They were like, I think they were 50% on retconning shit for me in this movie. Like which is pretty high. Like they did a pretty, like we'll get to the ending.
Bonkers. Like
we'll get to the ending. Like, again, a thing that did not land at any way for anyone.
Not in the least. Yeah,
It was just
not even a little bit.
what the fuck was that?
That's how ours was too.
Yeah, it was just like, what did we just see? Yeah, like, oh man, like, yeah, they just there's a nod to like the tunnels with the mine thing from 4 while they're in Portugal. Also, I got so many fucking tangents. How the fuck did John Cena get to Portugal? They took a flight from Yuma, Arizona.
Yeah,
right?
like,
and they jumped out in a kayak plane. How the fuck do you get from there to Portugal?
Like, when do you take off? Like, do you take off when you're over
on
the
Southern Airways?
Yeah.
Are there directs? What happened there?
Directs.
Is there a Yuma to fucking Lisbon? How did we get here? I'm gonna wake my neighbors.
Is there a Yuma to Lisbon?
What are we doing?
Oh my god!
I'm gonna try not
Is
to
there
wake
a
my neighbors.
Yuma to Lisbon?
I mean, like that. Like I can suspend. Like if he had been going to Brazil, all right, it's the same. Like not even the same hemisphere, but it's the same.
Yeah.
Continent, generally.
By the way, I'm gonna be honest with you. I had no idea they were in Portugal.
I only knew because it said Portugal in the big fucking silver letters on the screen.
Yeah, like why? I must have like.
Have they? So genuine question. When were they in Portugal? Was that when they were in? When that was that after Exile? Was that when they after 5? After 5, when they go to where are they living after 5? When
the Canary Islands.
Okay, so that doesn't make any fucking sense.
Not that, yeah. I think aren't they in Portugal in 9?
I'm gonna be
honest. Is that wrong?
I'm gonna be honest. No. Nine's a little fuzzy for me. I didn't rewatch.
9's a little fuzzy for me too. But like that's the thing. Like the ball rolling down the hill is playing the hits from 5. Yeah. Like the crazier one where they're playing the hits is like they tried to replay the Letty like tackle in midair between the 2 highways between Dom and the kid. Like this kid like jumps from one car to another at 100 miles an hour.
He one-hands him. He Odell Beckham's his son through the fucking car.
He's like, I got him. I got this.
That was so good. And then they also
kid, how bad are these parents? Can we just be honest? Like, how terrible are these parents?
Also, can I ask a question about the casting of Lil B? How is that the child of Elena and Dom Toretto?
A lot of questions there.
None
of them.
Don't want to go deep in that, but
just
again, like I was like, did they forget that it wasn't Michelle Rodriguez?
I honestly thought that too. Like, did you actually forget? Like, is that what happened here?
Maybe.
But
yeah, no, dude, they are terrible parents. They really are.
No, like seriously, the level to which they are putting this child, they're like, yeah, like even when like the agency comes into the house, like they just have like full like faith in like Lil B like going to hide. Like, yeah, we're good. Just like go hide. Yeah, this is a normal occurrence for us. It's all good.
I do enjoy that they like whenever they have any of their wrestling people, they get to do their finisher once in the movie. Oh, we got an attitude adjustment straight through the floor. Yeah. I enjoyed that. That's at least a little continuity for me.
Well, the funniest continuity part of it is that Jordana Brewster and John Cena are Vin Diesel's brother and sister.
That's correct.
How does that work?
Listen, don't worry about it. All right. Yeah. I mean, also like John Cena's supposed to be like Hispanic. Like,
yeah, my man is from Massachusetts.
I do like the Massachusetts nod with the Marky Mark in the car. That was funny. That was a fun scene.
Was good.
That was a fun scene.
Really good.
Again, that was John Cena like embracing the movie's tone in a way that, like, again, nobody else really did.
Yeah, him and Momoa, they got it.
Momoa is so good, dude.
The other thing with that and the kid is just like they're just like doing donuts to start the movie. Like, how old is Lil B? Do we know?
I believe he's like 10.
That's what my guess was. Like 10 years
I
old.
believe he's 10.
Kids just like drifting, doing donuts,
learning how to drift, man. First time drift. I mean, I get that. Like that was so far down the list of like.
But that's the least crazy thing that happens with him in this movie.
Yeah, but like they're in a parking lot. Like like I understand that. I'm not surprised by that at all.
When was the last time you saw a Dodger Stadium parking lot that empty?
Listen, I'm not an LA guy. I can't speak to the LA.
It's probably pretty empty a reasonable amount of the time when they're.
I mean, I'm sure. I mean, they shot it there, so hey, at least they were on location for something.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, man. The whole little beat, and also like, I just like maybe it's me being bad. I have no emotional attachment to the little fella. Like, there's never a moment where I'm like, yeah, he's in peril. Like, so the funniest moment that happened was when Jason Momoa goes, looks like Uncle Muscles isn't gonna make it to the next barbecue, and then turns to, like, in front of the fucking kid, and then goes, well, that was actually horrible. Like, it was so fucking funny. Like, again, like, steer into the absurdity of telling a kid his uncle's dead, and then being like laughing about it, and then being like, oh, that was actually pretty horrible.
Meanwhile, like, there's no acknowledgement of this kid's like uncle literally dying. He's just like good and like jumping between 100-mile-an-hour cars. Like,
dude, that was the only acknowledgement, is Jason Momoa making a fucking joke in front of him, and he's just like, I mean, the kid's put in a bad spot. But yeah, like, I was like, at no point was I like, one, like, you're never worried about him because like it's a Fast and Furious movie and he's Dom's son. But like, two, also, like, I was like never like, oh, I'm worried about what happens to the kid. You know, it's just like, we're just fucking off the rails. Also, I like how they like, are we supposed to like believe that the people in the plane are dead when they fucking bring back Gal Gadot?
I know.
Am I supposed to be like, oh no, what happened?
So all of this, like, I was just sitting there, I was like kind of laughing, like, oh my God, this might be bad. Like, what, like, literally, like, genuinely, like, just sitting there, like, look, I said, looked at Laura 10 minutes and I was like, oh my God, this might be like really bad. And then throughout it, I was like basically coasting along. I was like, okay, this is a normal bad movie, like, whatever. And then that happens. And I'm like, oh no, this is like catastrophically stupid. Are we supposed to believe that this plane is in any sort of peril that we saw explode? Like, are you going to bring back Gal Gadot just to like completely fucking like kill Han, who's in this plane? What am I missing here?
Dude,
how does Jason Momoa show up at that bridge thing on the dam before Dom does? He like
he shows up. He shows up at like the same time.
But like he like kind of spins out, doesn't he? Like, how does he?
Yeah, he goes down like a cliff. He goes down a cliff.
Yeah, like going like 120, you would think, because that's what Dom's. That's what Dom does. He's not driving the speed limit. We can guarantee that. And then Momoa like just maybe goes up.
The most the most charitable read I can have on this is that they tell Dom to like turn off on the side road to get there or whatever, and like Momoa's spin out actually put him at the dam sooner. This I'm gonna be as
because Richardson tells him to. Okay, no, this is good. This is a charitable read, and this is a good read.
Does this movie deserve it? No, but am I gonna give it to him? Yes.
Yeah, I
love this franchise, so that's what I'm gonna say happened there. I'm gonna give them the benefit of the doubt on that. However, everything else is a bit preposterous.
This whole movie is preposterous. How are we feeling going into the next one, which comes out in 2025? How concerned are we here?
Concerned. However, what I will say is, one, I fucking called it on the F9 pod. I said Dwayne's coming back.
Dwayne's coming back.
I said Dwayne's coming back. What do we get? What do we get?
We got Dwayne back.
End credit scene, Dwayne's fucking back. Also, they telegraphed it by having Dwayne in all the fucking like background shots of all like the things that had happened. I was like, if he didn't come back, if he wasn't coming back, they would have just pretended he didn't exist. Yeah. So I was like, I was actually waiting for him to show up at some point in the movie. I was actually impressed by the restraint to save it. Mildly impressed. So here's my guess on what 11 is. 11's gonna be.
That's actually a really good point. It's actually like a really good entry point for him too.
That's great. Because it's gonna be a Hobbs and Shaw movie.
Yes,
is what I'm gonna say, because they leave off with Shaw going to like kill a bunch of people that are trying to take his mom. Right. That's the last time we see him. We don't see him at again. And then they
Shaw,
have sorry, Shaw. And then they have Hobbs in the end credit scene get a call and then crush a cell phone with his hand. And I'm like, all right, I'm back.
I don't think there's any way Vin is letting them do a Hobbs and Shaw movie.
Well, no, but what I'm saying is I think F11 is mostly going to feel like that in terms of like, I think Vin will be, at least for the first beginning parts, I think Vin will be a bit more tertiary. Eventually he will step back into the center, but there's too much money at play for them not to get everybody back in. What I do hope is like maybe Dwayne can, because wasn't the issue Dwayne had that like nobody took that shit seriously? Wasn't the thing he kept getting mad about like Vin showing up like late and shit and not being prepared and like fucking up dialogue, and like Dwayne called him out on it, and then everybody was like, and then Tyrese got mad at him for Vin.
Yeah.
Like maybe, and this again, charitable read after what we just saw, maybe Dwayne can like lock shit in if he's actually involved, but I don't have high hopes. No, I cannot. I don't like. So can we talk about the gal thing and her being back?
Yeah.
Because we got a lot of questions. One, like she was like the most dead of like all the deaths.
I don't think she was, for what it's worth. I disagree with that. I think she falls backward off of a car that's hanging in the air,
off a plane
while shooting that guy
on a runway. That's going.
The most dead was by far Luke Evans, and Luke Evans we know is not dead. Luke Evans flies backward out of a car, out of the back of a plane, like going that way. It feels like that plane is going fast. Gal Gadot releases, fires. I don't know how far off the ground she is. I actually don't think she's that far off the ground.
They're going like 100, dude. It's a plane taking off.
Oh, let me be clear. It's all fucking insane, Rob. But like, I'm just saying, like,
they have the restraint to wait 4 movies.
Well, yeah, 5 movies? Got Wonder Woman. Like, what do you want us to do? 4 in the main series, yeah, and 4 plus Hobbs and Shaw. So, like, yes,
okay, all right.
All of that is
fine,
right.
Fine. Okay, fine. Let's push that part aside.
Yeah,
she's working nuclear submarines for Charlize Theron now.
Yeah, that's confusing.
Who was up until literally the beginning of this movie the #1 villain?
Yeah, I don't know how that changed.
So, like, it changed because, like, the enemy of my enemy, like, the same shit they've been doing. But how? Because I am led to believe that from that moment forward, Charlize Theron was at the black site. So there was no, like, intel, like, yeah, she's fine now. She's cool. She's with us. So she's just been working for her?
Yeah, she's just working for Charlize this whole time.
She's just been working for Cypher the whole time. Like while Charlize is like killing Elena.
Yeah, it doesn't seem right, does it?
Something's not. Also, she can drive a nuclear submarine.
Oh, well, we don't know who else is in that sub.
It's fair. Okay, fine. Charitable read again.
But no, it's just gonna be her. We know that.
Oh, 100%. There's not going to be anybody else inside that sub. But like, that was the part where I was like, so she's working for the bad guy that nobody knew was not the bad guy anymore until 2 hours ago in this movie.
Correct.
Fantastic. Great work.
Yeah, it's all great, Robbie.
I feel like at some point Gal was like, yeah, I'm back. Like Wonder Woman's over. And they were like, fuck it, figure it out, get her in here.
I wonder if that timing actually did work out.
Put her with the other two women. Like that's what they do. They're just like, put her with the other two women. Like, oh.
Meanwhile, Brie Larson's like also in that plot line. So like, of course, like, yeah, no, it's all bad. It's all nonsensical, and I'm so confused. And
I don't know if we got very far in this conversation. Like, I feel good getting.
I feel good getting it out. That's the thing. Like,
I want to hammer home. Like, Jason,
we love this franchise.
We love this franchise. I'll be back first weekend, Fast 11. I'll be there.
Yes.
Jason Momoa, like, you deserve everything. Like, I hope they send you half of the box office gross because you're the redeeming quality. Like, you kept me going in this movie. You made choices. You went all in on your choices. You recognize this is supposed to be fun, and you said, you're goddamn right. And 10 out of 10. Like, unbelievable performance. Everybody else, let's go back to the drawing board.
We got to go back to the drawing board. We got to figure some things out. We got to get Chris Morgan back. We got to get Justin Lin. Like, seriously, pay whatever it takes for Justin Lin.
Please. Like, we need competent hands.
Genuinely, you can't pay him enough. You can't give him enough control.
Yeah, whatever the issue was, and like, again, like, that's what I feel like. They just were like, Vin, it's your show. And like, we've gone too far. We've just gone too far with giving Vin the controls, and we need to rein it in a little bit, which maybe Dwayne coming back will do. That's going to be my. God, I hope so. That's going to be my the thing I hold out.
That's what I'm hoping. Okay, Robby, tell the people where they can find your work.
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter at @Kalland. You can find me on Uproxx Sports Dime on Uproxx, writing about basketball and football and golf and all kinds of other stuff. If you, for some reason, want to, the Puntcast is a college football betting podcast that also does golf sometimes and other and sundry things. When Tom, Chip, and I decide to get on and talk, we have fun. And it doesn't make any sense. So it's the Fast 10 of podcasts. And but we're all Jason Momoa. We know the tone. So yeah, that's basically all. That's all I got. Thanks for having me on, bud.
The Puntcast is brilliant. Please go listen to the Puntcast. Go read Robby at Uproxx. It's great. I'm trying to think. Well, you know, like, who did you have? Who'd you have in the PGA this weekend?
I have a Brooks ticket, so.
Oh man!
Fingers crossed that he gets home, because everybody else that I had a ticket on is cooked. I guess I have a Scotty. Yeah. Like, I have a little. They gave me like a free bet, so I like hedged on like the favorites. So I took like a boost on Rahm and like a free bet on Scotty just to. But like, yeah, I got nobody else. So I'm all in on Brooks tomorrow, which is a weird place to be. I was hoping Xander would show up this week, but
yeah, it didn't happen.
That didn't happen. So. Brooks tomorrow is the rooting interest.
Yeah. Yeah, it's disappointing. It's disappointing that we're getting this like weirdo kind of finish with like Justin Rose and, you know, Corey Connors.
I'm mad because like Rose is like usually like my guy, and I got nothing on him.
Yeah, no, it's tough. Okay. Go to The Athletic. Keep me employed over there. We will be back tomorrow with Adam Spinella breaking down Heat Celtics game 3. We'll talk some NBA draft stuff. I have some things that I want to talk about with the NBA draft, just in terms of potential movement, et cetera, that people seem to be melting down about already. And we're a month away from the draft, and I'm terrified that I'm going to be very sick of this within 2 more days. Keep it locked here. We will be back tomorrow, and then probably not the next day, unless the Nuggets close it out. If the Nuggets close it out, I might have to record. We'll see. But keep it locked here. I'll have some writing up on the combine at some point. Until next time, we'll talk soon. Bye.